Hi, my name is Bonnie Barker. I'm with BonnieBabeCrochet.com, and this is video number 1 of the Divine Textured Throw in Pillows. This will be a crochet along, and to begin, you're going to need about, I believe it's 10 scans of the Red Heart with Love or your favorite yarn. This scan has approximately 370 yards, 338 meters. So you'll need 10 of those, so 10 times 370 is approximately 3,700 yards. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? And that's if you're including one pillow with that. Now, if you don't want to jump in and make a huge project right away, you can just start by purchasing one of these and just making the pillow, which is made doing 2 of the squares that I'm about to show you. Okay, crochet hooks. Your main crochet hook is going to be this one, size K or 10, which is, it's 10.5 in US sizing, and it's 6.50 millimeters. And for the outer trim only, that's the round that's going to be crocheted around, you're going to need a size J or 10, which is a 6.00 millimeter crochet hook. You'll eventually need a yarn needle, but we're not going to need that for a while. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to the redheart.com site. You can either Google this under, if you just Google Divine Textured Throw in Pillows, this should come up as an option, or you can just go right to the redheart.com site, or you can go to, well, actually the link will be also included on this video if you look at it on your computer. I wanted to encourage especially those who claim to not have any reading ability. Maybe you're someone who likes to follow videos and you're like, you don't understand how to read don't understand how to read crochet patterns. Well, I want to encourage you to go ahead and download this pattern. There's a lot of very useful information, including the gauge, which I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on, because it's not that important for this project. But anyway, I want to encourage those of you who aren't comfortable reading patterns to go ahead and read along with us, because I am going to be posting on the video what I am doing and the crochet language used to explain that. And I think the more you see that, the more you'll get comfortable with this and will be able to tackle other projects without having to sit through a tutorial. I really hope that this serves you. Another reason for printing out the pattern is it has this nice little diagram in the back, which is going to show you how the squares are going to be placed together. Now, we're not going to have to worry about that till one of the later videos, but I think it's just important if you can go ahead and get this printed out and follow. I really want to see more and more people learn how to read these patterns. If you can read the text messages, on your cell phone from your children and others, I mean, if you can learn how to read that, I promise you that the abbreviations used in crochet, in the crochet universe, is actually easier. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go ahead and start. The first instructions are with larger hook, that would be size K hook, and A, which would be in reference to the color. There's only one color that I'm going to be showing you. That color is referencing other colors you could use for the pillows, but for the most part, that's not going to matter. The instructions we need now is chain 36. So let's start out with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 36. I like to chain by 5s so I can keep better track, so I will show you how I do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I reposition. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and one more, 36. So I have my chain of 36. Now for row 1, we're going to single crochet in the second chain from hook, and then each chain across, and then turn. We will have 35 single crochets at the end of this row. So second chain from hook, and I'm just going to do single crochet all the way across. Now if you notice, I'm actually working on going into just one side of the chain. Some people want you or would prefer to work in a back bump. It's not really necessary in what we're going to do, because we are going to come to a border round at the end. So I just find it easier to work along the side of the chain. If you have another method, feel free to do that. Okay, I'm going to finish all the way across to the end, and then I will show you the turn. Now I've come to the end. I've crocheted a single crochet in each chain. I'm going to chain one, turn. Now the next two rows are under the heading of the low front ridge. Okay, so row 2, I'm going to actually work only in the front loop. Okay, only in the front loop. And I'm actually going to skip the first one just because it just is going to look better if I do that. But this will not affect our stitch count coming back on the other row. So I'm simply working a slip stitch. If you can see what I'm doing, I'm just going into the one strand, the front loop only, and just pull it through, just like so. I'm going to work this all the way across, and I'll show you the end. Okay, now I've worked the slip stitch and all the stitches across, and I'm also going to work one right here in the turning chain. Okay, this will just help things even out at the end. I'm going to chain one, turn. For row 3, I am not going to work in the turning chain. I am only going to work in the remaining loop of the single crochets. Now this first one might be a little tricky to see, and we're just working single crochets all the way across. Let me give you another view, try to instill some confidence in you here. So we have these single crochets, and this is actually going to be the front side facing, so you're going to have this little border or bump here that's going to this ridge is going to actually help frame the stitches that come after this. So I'm going to go ahead and finish all the way across. You should have 35 single crochets. Okay, I just wanted to mention one more time that after you come to the end of this row, you do not work in the turning chain. There actually is not a turning chain to work in, but we don't need to do that, and our stitch count should remain 35. Okay, we're going to chain one. We're going to turn to begin row 4, which is now the cable pattern. If you need more instruction on this, I do have another video on my YouTube, Bonnie Bae Crochet YouTube channel, if you want to just study this particular stitch. But anyway, maybe you can just pick it up as we go along with it now. Okay, for the cable stitch, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to skip 1, 2. The next 2 stitches, I'm going to single crochet in the third stitch. So far, it looks like this. Now this where it gets a little bit tricky. We're going to turn, and we're going to work only in the chain 3 that we just made. And I just work, just like in the beginning, I just work in one side of it. You don't have to work in the back bump or any of that. Just one little loop on each side. So I have 3 single crochets, 1 in each of the chain. Now the single crochet that we made at first, I'm going to do a slip stitch there. Now I'm going to turn this again. And now, working in the 2 stitches that we skipped, I'm going to make a single crochet in each of those. And that completes our first cable. Okay, let's do that a few more times. 1, 2, 3, chain 3, skip 2, and single crochet in the next stitch. I'm going to turn, working in the chain. Just one loop of the side is fine. going to single crochet in each of the 3 chains, just like so. Then we're going to slip stitch in that single crochet, turn, and single crochet in the 2 skipped stitches. Okay, let me do this 2 more times. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 chains. Skip 2, and the 2 that we're skipping are stitches that haven't been worked in yet. Single crochet in the next stitch, turn, chain 3. I'm sorry, single crochet in each of the chain 3s. 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Now I do a slip stitch, turn, working in the 2 stitches that were skipped, single crochet in each of those. I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3 chains, skip 2, 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet, turn, single crochet in each of the chains. 1, 2, 3. Then I do a slip stitch in that single crochet, and then I turn, working in the 2 that were skipped, single crochet in each of those. Okay, I'll give you a view of what this looks like. It's a very nice textured stitch. I'm going to go ahead and finish this row, and then I will show you the next. Okay, I've come to the end of my row. I should have 11 cables. If you have more or less than that, you may want to double check what you've done and try again. Okay, that leaves 1 stitch at the end that hasn't been worked. I'm going to go ahead and work a single crochet in that last stitch. Okay, now I'm ready for the next row, which is going to be row number 5. Okay, I'm going to chain 1. This can be a little tricky, so you may want to, try to pay close attention here so we get the right number of stitches in the end. Again, our stitch count is always going to be 35 at the end of each row. Okay, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch of the row. Next, we're going to put 2 in the next stitch, and then I'm going to pull. Notice I'm pulling back this cable a bit. I'm going to put just 1 stitch here. Now behind each cable you're going to have 3 stitches, and this is the way it's done all the way across. 2 stitches in the next one, and if you need to pull back the cable here, put 1 here. We are working in those single crochets. 2 in the next, and then 1 in the next space, so that I'm having, let me go ahead and show you a little bit. So we actually have 3 stitches behind this, 3 stitches behind this cable, 3 stitches behind this cable, plus the one that we started with, just to be clear. So I'm going to do this all the way across. 2 stitches in 1 stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next. So 2, and pull this cable back, and then 1. I'm going to do this all the way across. Now that we get to the very end, we've worked 2 stitches and then 1 behind each cable. I want you to work 1 final single crochet. It's going to be in the turning chain, right like that. Okay. Now I did say earlier that you'd have 35 stitches in each round. Well, I'm sorry, in each row, but of course it's harder to count, with this cable row. Just know that you'll have 11 cables in that row. But after row number 5, you should have 35 single crochets. And for those of you who are kind of new to reading patterns, the stitch count will only be mentioned in most professionally written patterns only when that stitch count changes. If it never changes, you'll just have the stitch count at the beginning and nothing else will be mentioned. With well-written patterns, if the stitch count does change, there needs to be some indication of that. Alright, so I've chained 1 and I've turned. I'm now going work rows 6 and 7, which simply say repeat rows 2 and 3, which was the low front ridge. So just like we did down here, we're going to do the same. Again, we're going to, and also that you're going to be doing that many times in this square. All right, we're going to skip the first. We're working only in the front loop of the previous row, and we're going to work slip stitch all the way across, just like we did rows 2 and 3. Okay, now that I've worked this all the way across, I wanted to show you the last stitch, which is working it in the turning chain. And the reason we do that is without doing that, the ends just aren't going to look so even. So I go ahead and pick up the next one. Sometimes you have to work with those strands. Do the slip stitch in the turning chain. I'm going to chain 1, turn. Now, again, I do not work in the turning chain because that would be adding a stitch to the row, and we don't want to do that. As long as we just work in the single crochets, our stitch count does not change. So just single crochet in the remaining loop, just like so, all the way across. Okay, now that we've come to the end of our row, this is the end of row 7. I'm going to chain 1, turn, and row 8 simply says, okay, chain 1, single crochet in each single crochet across, do not turn at the end of this row. Okay, so it's just going to working through both loops. Incidentally, unless it says to work through a single loop or front loop, you're always working through both loops. I'm going to just single crochet all the way across. Okay, now we've worked the single crochet all the way across. I'm going to chain 1, and the instructions at the end of this row said do not turn. Now we're going to begin what is referred to either as the knurl stitch, another name is the crab stitch, and some people call it the reverse single crochet. Okay, the reverse single crochet is probably the most descriptive name. Now as I work this stitch, I'm going to go from left to right, which is basically crocheting backwards if you're right-hander. If you're a left-hander, you're going to be going from right to left. Okay, and we are only going to be working in the front, only in the front loop only. And on top of that, I want you to skip the first stitch here. We're going to start going backwards, and we're going to come into the second front loop. I'm going to just like so. Okay, we're just doing the motion of a single crochet. I'm going to do this a few times. This is a little tricky. I will say this, it might be something you'd want to practice, but relax with it. Don't try to manipulate the way the strands fall. Just kind of put your hook into the front loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through, and go to the next loop, just like so. I know I'm making it look probably easier than you're going to find this, but with a little bit of practice, you can learn this. Just don't think about it too much. It's funny how seasoned crocheters generally struggle with this the most. I've had beginner students who've been crocheting less than a month or two, or I guess I would call them confident beginners, pick this up because nobody told them it was too hard, and they picked it up right away. So if you're a seasoned crocheter, hang in there. Again, don't try to manipulate where the strands fall. Now if you don't like this stitch, feel free to substitute with something else, but you're going to want to be careful how you do that, so that you don't have the square, more of a rectangle shape. You're going to need these to be square when you're done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to finish this row with you so that you can see how it goes. Now I'll go ahead and finish this. I'll show you the ending. Okay, I've come to the last two stitches. I'm going to do another reverse single crochet, and then the very last single crochet, now this is not the turning chain, this is the single crochet, I'm going to work a reverse slip stitch, just a slip stitch, okay, without, yeah, it's not a single crochet, it's a slip stitch, and the reason I do that again is in an effort to keep this edge somewhat even. Now I'm going to chain one, and now we're going to work from right to left, and we're going to work, let me show you, see the remaining loop here that is left that we didn't work in? We are going to work a single crochet in each of those loops all the way across. I wanted to show you the last two stitches because these can be a little bit tricky. There's one, and there is one more stitch here. Now if you're ever in doubt as to whether to crochet one more stitch or not, you can always go back to the beginning and count to see how many single crochets, and like we've said again and again, there will be 35 in the row. Okay, now for the next row we're going to chain one, and this is row number 10. Hold on. Nope, this is actually row number 11. Okay, we are going to single crochet in each stitch across. Working through both loops, single crochet all the way across the row. Okay, at the conclusion of this row, go ahead and turn the page to the second page of the pattern so we can now begin rows 12 and 13. Let's just take a good look at what we've gotten so far. Okay, we have the low front ridge, the cable row, low front ridge. You should be getting good at that. We've got a row of single crochet, then the knurl or the reverse single crochet, and then another row of single crochet, single crochet. Now we are going to repeat rows 2 and 3, which is the low front ridge. Okay, as we do these again and again, I may spend less and less time on them just to give you an early warning because I don't want you to be too bored. All right, so we're going to skip the first loop. This again is worked in the front row, front loop only. We're going to do slip stitch all the way across. Remember that as you finish this row, you're going to also work a slip stitch in the turning chain, chain one. Now this is row 13. Again, we're just working in the remaining loop of those single crochets all the way across. Stitch count should remain the constant of 35. Okay, we're going to work that all the way across. Okay, now I've chained one and turned, and now we're going to work rows 14 and 15, which is the cable pattern, which is another repeat of this row. Okay, give you a view of what we have. All right, so we're going to do the cable row again. So just a quick tutorial: single crochet in the first stitch, chain 3, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next stitch. We're going to turn, and working in the chain 3, just one loop of the chain 3, we're going to single crochet in each of the loops, which is 3 chains, and we're going to slip stitch in that first single crochet. Now we turn our work again, and working in the 2 stitches that were skipped, we single crochet in both of those. We'll repeat that across. I'll do it one more time. Chain 3, skip 2, single crochet in the next stitch, turn, single crochet in each of the chains, going through just one loop, and slip stitch in that single crochet, and working in the 2 stitches that were skipped, single crochet 1, single crochet 2. I'm going to do that one more time. 1, 2, 3 chains, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next, turn our work, working in the chain. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, then do a slip stitch in the next stitch, turn, and working in the 2 stitches that were skipped, single crochet in each of those. 1, 2. Go ahead and do that all the way across. And we've done the cable all the way across. Now we're going to single crochet in the last stitch. Chain 1, turn. Okay, now working behind the cables, we're going to single crochet in the first single crochet, and now this is where we begin the 2 and then the 1, adding single crochet behind the cable. So 2 single crochet in this stitch. I pull back the cable a little bit to reveal that next single crochet, and I put 1 single crochet there. I'm going to do that all the way across. 2 single crochet, pull back the cable a bit, and then 1. 2 single crochet in the next space, pull back the cable, and then put 1 there. 2 single crochets in the next, pull back the cable, and then 1. Just go ahead and do that all the way across. Okay, now at the end of the row, remember we're going to put a single crochet in that turning chain just at the end, and that will give us our 35 stitches across. Chain 1, turn. Now we're going to get ready to work rows 16 and 17, which again is the low front ridge, is another set of rows just like this ridge here. Okay, so this will be the 4th ridge of this pattern so far. In total, I believe there are going to be 8, so you'll be really good at this row when you finish your first square. Okay, so we're going to skip the first stitch. We're only working in the front loops for the low front ridge, and we're going to slip stitch all the way across. And just as a reminder, make sure you work a slip stitch in the turning chain of this row. Again, that does not change the stitch count, because the row that counts for continuing the stitch count is the one we're just about to do now. Okay, now this is row 17. We're going to work only in the remaining loop of those single crochets, which means we do not work in the turning chain, and we're just going to single crochet all the way across. Sometimes it is a little challenging to find the remaining loop, but shouldn't be too much trouble. You do need to be deliberate in finding it though.